Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bold and Beautiful. Today, Ivy is going to tell Dylan that he needs to get out of Los Angeles. At the time, Taylor Hayes is having a hard time staying away from Deacon Sharp. Ivy Forrester spent a lot of time watching Dylan and Will Spencer. She did not like what she saw because their behavior was not right. Ivy Forrester waited until Dylan went upstairs to the guest room above the garage. Then she decided to confront him. Now Ivy Forrester is very angry. She wants to express her feelings to Dylan. Ivy Forrester is mad at Dylan. She is going to tell him to leave Los Angeles. Taylor Hayes is still thinking about Deacon Sharp. She cannot resist him. Ivy does not want Dylan to take Electra Forrester's boyfriend away from her. So Ivy is going to do something about it on Friday's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful. When Ivy tells Dylan that she has to leave Los Angeles, Dylan will be really surprised. Ivy will say that Electra Forrester does not need all this trouble in her life. Ivy will tell Dylan that she needs to go and leave Electra Forrester alone before things get even worse for Electra Forrester. Ivy is really mad at Dylan. She wants Dylan to leave her alone. Meanwhile, Deacon and Taylor are going to have a moment that feels really special. Taylor and Deacon might even kiss each other for real this time. Sheila Sharp thinks that Taylor is the reason her marriage is getting better. Sheila Sharp still has some problems with her marriage. She feels like things are okay now because Taylor has been talking to Deacon and helping him with his issues. Sheila Sharp believes that Taylor is the answer to all her marriage problems with her husband. Deacon is really falling for Taylor. He is having a time because he does not feel the same way about Sheila anymore. To Deacon, Sheila is like a problem that he has to deal with. He wants to stop her from doing something and hurting someone, especially Taylor. If Sheila finds out about Taylor and Deacon, she will be very upset. So Deacon will try to keep this a secret from his wife Sheila. Deacon does not want Sheila to know about his feelings for Taylor. Of course, no matter how much Deacon wants to protect Taylor, it's just a matter of time Sheila discovers their true bond and unleashes her wrath. Ivy is really upset. She sees Will and Dylan getting close. Then she gets angry, confronts them. Ivy does not like what she sees when she finds Dylan sitting on Will's lap. She shakes her head. Ivy looks through the window of the beach house. Dylan gets off Will's lap. Says sorry for falling on him. Will tells Dylan it is okay. He thinks Dylan is a dancer. Ivy checks on Hayes to make sure he is sleeping. Then Will goes outside to take a shower after swimming in the water for a while. Ivy is hiding in the bushes, watching them talk. The man is telling Dylan that swimming at night is really fun and that it is safe to do. He says to Dylan, you never want to miss out on cool things that you can do. Then Dylan and Will go inside the house, sit by the fire. Ivy goes back to watching them through the window. Dylan asks Will about when he was a kid. Will talks about how he had to go to a school where he lived and how he did not get to see his family very often. Will's parents were not together much and his dad did something very bad. His dad left his wife for her sister. When Will talks about his parents, he gets very upset. He really loves his dad. He wishes that his parents were together. It is not good for his dad to be by himself all the time. Dylan puts his hand on Will's arm. Will says that he has not been able to talk to Electra about the really tough things. Electra moves away from him. Tells him that it is easier to talk to someone that he does not care about so much. Will says that he feels really bad about everything he has put Electra through. He feels bad about what he has done to her. Will thinks about his parents, how much he wants them to be together. He thinks about Electra and how much he has hurt her. Dylan feels bad for this guy. The thing that Luna did to him was really mean. He is actually thanking her for what she did. Luna took advantage of him. He says that Will is always a good person. You should feel sorry for Electra. When he told Electra that Luna was having his baby, that was a lot to deal with. Dylan says that Electra has dreams about hurting Luna and thinks about how much worse it would have been if Luna was still pregnant at the time. He tells Electra that she should not think that way because the baby was already gone. Will tells her that Luna was bad news and he is happy that Luna is gone. Will says that she is a person and he is happy that she is there with him. Ivy shakes her head. Then Finn sends a text message to say that Finn will be their thing in the morning. They talk about Dylan still looking for a job. They joke that Dylan should become a therapist to help people. Ivy is really surprised when she sees them laughing together about Dylan. Will keeps telling her that she is a creative person and Will gives her a pep talk to make her feel better about herself and about Luna being gone. When she says she is a daredevil, he teases her about not taking a night swim in the water. He goes off to check on Hayes. He tells the daredevil to run out for a dip in the water. When he comes back, he finds the daredevil showering off after the swim. The daredevil admits that the night swim was really incredible. He says the daredevil is a daredevil all. It is not proper all, Ivy says to herself while she is sitting in the bushes. Dylan is going to thank him for all his help. He tells her that he might come looking for her if Hayes wakes up during the night. This just shows Dylan what a guy he is. He says Elektra deserves the credit for everything. Dylan thinks he has taste in women. In San Francisco, Steffi and Elektra are drinking wine together. Steffi misses her kids. She knows they are okay. Elektra is sure that Hayes will have a lot of fun spending the night with her friend and her boyfriend. Dylan thinks about how much he cares for her and her kids. He is a caring guy and Dylan can see that. People are talking about how cute Will's and Steffi wants Dylan to know what to do. Elektra says she is worried about Will at his job because he is a Spencer. Steffi thinks this is nice of Elektra. It seems like Steffi really cares about Will. They keep talking about Will. Elektra wishes she could spend time with him, but Will is with Dylan. Elektra says it is okay for one night. Ivy does not agree with Elektra. Back at the beach house, Ivy goes into Dylan's apartment. She is very upset. She's not surprised the door is unlocked and jokes she should have the red light on. Dylan is baffled. Ivy declares she saw everything and knows what she's up to. She won't let her steal Elektra's boyfriend. Ivy Forrester crosses a line no bone ever allowed. Sheed and the fallout sends tumblers through all of Los Angeles on the bold and the beautiful. What begins as a heated battle snappily spirals into a reproach that leaves everyone questioning whether Ivy is a fierce protection or commodity far darker. The moment unfolds at the Forrester estate, where feelings are formally running dangerously high after the cheating reproach involving Will and Dylan. Dylan arrives, allowing she'll eventually clear the air, perhaps indeed regain what little quality she has left, but the instant Ivy sees her walk through the door, the atmosphere turns ice-cold wave. Ivy doesn't hail her. She doesn't offer discussion. She stands there, rigid and furious, eyes burning with an admixture of rage, nausea, and commodity far more particular, treason. Before Dylan can indeed speak, Ivy unloads weeks of pent-up wrathfulness, criminating her of luring Will, humiliating Elektra, and poisoning everything she touches. Dylan tries to defend herself, averring she no way meant for effects to go so far, but Ivy isn't hearkening. In her mind, Dylan is the villain of this story, and moment, she's determined to make her pay. The argument escalates fleetly, voices echoing through the room as every unattractive verity is thrown into the open. Ivy calls Dylan a manipulator, a homewrecker, someone who thrives on chaos and attention. Dylan fires back, criminating Ivy of acting like Elektra's particular attack canine, of pretending to be righteous while enjoying the power of tearing someone differently down. That blameworthiness hits a wimwams. Ivy's countenance cracks, her restraint snapping under the weight of emotion. In a split second that feels both shocking and ineluctable, Ivy raises her hand and slaps Dylan hard across the face. The sound is sharp, echoing, and hugely silencing. Dylan staggers back, stupefied, her hand flying to her impertinence as gashes spring to her eyes, not just from pain, but from demotion. For a moment, time seems to indurate. No bone can believe what just happened. Ivy Forrester, the woman who claimed to stand for fidelity and justice, has just turned physical. But Ivy isn't done. Her voice shakes with fury as she steps closer, pointing at Dylan with poisonous intensity. She tells her she's not drinking Los Angeles presently, that she's caused enough damage, enough heartache, enough disgrace. Ivy threatens her outright, advising Dylan to pack her bags and leave city incontinently, or effects will only get worse. The words aren't subtle. They're not tropical. They're a demand. Dylan, pulsing, accuses Ivy of bullying her, of abusing her power and connections to exile her rather than let her face the consequences naturally. Ivy scoffs, saying Dylan robbed any right to sympathy the moment she put her hands on Will and shattered Elektra's life. The imbalance of power becomes sorrowfully clear, and suddenly the room feels less like a battle and more like a public prosecution. News of the poke spreads presto, kindling fierce debate across the Forrester and Logan families. Some rally behind Ivy, averring Dylan pushed her too far, that treason provokes extreme responses. Others are deeply disturbed, arguing that Ivy crossed a dangerous line, transubstantiating herself from protection into raider. Brooke is affrighted, reminding Ivy that violence and intimidation aren't justice. Steffi is equivocal. She understands Ivy's rage but warns her that hanging someone to leave city could have serious consequences. Indeed, Electra, the person Ivy claims to be defending, is shaken when she hears what happened. While she appreciates Ivy's fidelity, she can't ignore the discomfort creeping in. She no way asked Ivy to come her enforcer. She wanted verity, not terror. Dylan, meanwhile, becomes the center of rumored exchanges and divided commitment. Bruised emotionally and physically, she wrestles with whether to stay and fight for her name or flee to escape the grim hostility. Being slighted wasn't just an act of violence, it was a communication. You don't belong then. And that communication sinks deep, eroding whatever confidence Dylan had left. She starts packing in secret, doubtful whether she's running down or guarding herself. The megacity that formerly felt full of occasion now feels stifling, hostile, and enduring. Ivy, still, begins to face consequences of her own. The adrenaline fades, replaced by scrutiny and mistrustfulness. People look at her else now, not just as Electra's protector, but as someone able of crossing moral boundaries when feelings run high. Tales circulate about her temper, her control issues, her need to dominate situations. Ivy insists she has no regrets, that Dylan merited every word and every consequence, but late at night, alone with her studies, the image of Dylan's stupefied face after the poke haunts her. She wonders if she went too far, also snappily pushes the allowed down, persuading herself that strength occasionally requires brutality. On The Bold and the Beautiful, this moment marks a seismic shift. Ivy's conduct fracture connections, blur moral lines, and raise uncomfortable questions about justice versus revenge. Is Ivy an idol who refused to stay silent, or a bully who used outrage as a reason to intimidate and control? As Dylan's future in Los Angeles hangs by a thread, one thing is inarguable: the poke didn't just leave a mark on Dylan's face, it left an endless scar on everyone involved. And as the fallout continues, the line between right and wrong grows thinner than ever, proving formally again that in this world, passion can just as fluently destroy as it can defend. The fallout from Ivy's shocking poke doesn't end at whispers and side-eye ganders. It detonates into a full-scale moral war that divides families, Gemütlichkeit, and commitment on The Bold and the Beautiful. In the days that follow, the incident becomes the only thing anyone can talk about. At Forrester Creations, exchanges stop the moment Ivy walks into a room. Some people lower their voices out of respect, others out of fear. The poke has readdressed her. She's no longer just Ivy Forrester, the pious kinsman and fierce protection. She's now a woman able of crossing a physical and emotional line when pushed too far. Dylan, meanwhile, becomes a ghost in plain sight. She still goes to work, still shows up when needed, but she moves through Los Angeles like someone bracing for impact at every turn. The demotion of being slighted intimately lingers far longer than the sting on her impertinence. It wasn't just an act of violence, it was a protestation of power. Ivy didn't just strike her, she tried to abolish her. That consummation eats down at Dylan's sense of safety. She starts jumping at raised voices, recoiling when Ivy's name comes up in discussion. For the first time, Dylan considers the unbelievable, leaving LA not because she wants to, but because staying feels dangerous. Electra is torn piecemeal by guilt. She no way asked for this. While she was hurt by Dylan's conduct and devastated by Will's treason, watching the situation curl into physical intimidation makes her stomach churn. She confronts Ivy intimately, thanking her for standing up for her but also making it clear that the poke crossed a line. Ivy bristles at the suggestion, averring Dylan merited consequences, averring Electra would still be stuck in denial if she hadn't forced the verity into the open. But Electra pushes back, voice shaking as she admits she doesn't feel empowered by what Ivy did, she feels unsettled. That admission cuts Ivy deeper than any blameworthiness ever could. Will, formerly drowning in guilt, now carries another unsupportable weight. He knows indeed if no bone. Says it outright, that this violence happened because of him. Because he didn't shut effects down presto enough. Because he liked the attention. Because he failed both women in different ways. Seeing Dylan with a faint bruise on her impertinence shakes him to his core. He tries to apologize to her, but Dylan shuts him down cold wave, telling him his remorse came too late. His silence back also and his vacillation now are inversely dangerous. Will is forced to defy a harsh verity. This reproach is no longer about remission. It's about responsibility. As word of Ivy's trouble spreads, the Logan and Forrester families fracture into opposing camps. Brooke is adamant that Ivy must apologize intimately, advising her that unbounded rage will only destroy her credibility and her future. Steffi, though disaccorded, begins leaning toward Brooke's position, admitting that while Dylan's jest was wrong, no bone deserves to be bullied into exile. Eric is deeply disappointed, reminding Ivy that the Forrester name carries responsibility, and that violence tarnishes everything it touches. Ivy feels cornered, misneu, and decreasingly protective. In her mind, everyone is guarding Dylan, now the veritably woman who lit the fuse in the first place. Dylan eventually reaches her breaking point when she overhears two associates bruiting that she had it coming. That moment crystallizes everything. She realizes she's been reduced to her exemplary tale, a villain stripped of nuance, humanity, and voice. That night, she begins packing in Humiliation. But rather of slipping down still, Dylan makes a bold choice. She requests a meeting, not just with Ivy, but with Elektra, Brooke, and Steffi present. However, she refuses to do it in silence, if she's going to leave. The battle is raw and electric. Dylan doesn't deny her miscalculations. She admits she crossed boundaries, admits she sought comfort and confirmation in the wrong place. But she refuses to accept physical violence as discipline. Her voice breaks as she describes the fear she felt in that moment, not just from the poke, but from Ivy's trouble to destroy her life in LA. She calls it what it's bullying. Abuse of power. The room goes quiet as the weight of her words settles in. Ivy explodes, criminating Dylan of playing the victim, of rewriting history to escape consequences. But this time, the fire in Ivy's voice doesn't inspire fear, it exposes fragility. Brooke weighs in forcefully, telling Ivy that if she can't see the difference between responsibility and atrocity, she needs to step back. Indeed, Steffi agrees, stating that justice loses its meaning when it turns into intimidation. Ivy looks around and realizes, with horror, that she's alone. Elektra eventually speaks, gashes streaming down her face as she admits the verity she's been avoiding. Watching Ivy poke Dylan made her feel helpless each over again. She says she demanded support, not violence. Protection, not pitfalls. And while she still holds Dylan responsible for her treason, she refuses to let someone additional carry her wrathfulness for her, especially at such a cost. That moment breaks commodity inside Ivy. The righteous certainty she clung to shatters, replaced by mistrustfulness, shame, and a creeping mindfulness that she may have come the veritably thing she despises. In the end, Dylan decides to leave Los Angeles, but on her own terms. Not because Ivy ordered her to. Not because she was chased out. She leaves to heal, to reclaim her quality, and to escape a megacity that turned her pain into spectacle. Her departure isn't triumphant, but it's recalcitrant. And as she walks down, the silence she leaves before is louder than any poke. On the bold and the beautiful, the fate lingers. Ivy faces serious consequences, not legal, but relational. Trust erodes. Respect fractures. And the question that haunts her is no longer whether Dylan justified discipline, but whether Ivy lost herself in the process. As lines blur between protection and bully, the story delivers a nipping memorial when wrathfulness goes unbounded. Indeed, the most righteous cause can come destructive. And occasionally, the hardest verity to face is your own reflection.